All right. Says we're live. Hi, everyone. It's tea time with Kaylee and Lara. And today we are talking about trusting the process. So, when you have this idea or goal and you get it in motion, and then you kind of think maybe you second guess it, or you get discouraged, or you get tired, and all these things can get in the way. So, we're going to talk about our six steps to trusting the process. So, we're going to start with you, Lara.
And I think trust is such a good issue because it overlaps into every area of your life. Like there's no area that trusting the process doesn't affect, whether it's your business, your life, your relationship, like all of it. It's just such a good topic to make sure that you're really engaging and trusting.
Yes. And letting go, right? To letting go of the result and just trusting the steps that you need to take action on. So step one is?
I would say it's holding the vision. So if you're trusting the process, you've got an idea of where you want to go, and we're assuming that you've created the vision out of a strong sense of like a deep why, you're aligned with your values. But once you have the vision, be really familiar with it, like know exactly where you're going, see someone else has similar results and then know the way you want it, but really have the exact, precise, however many ways you want to say it, idea of where you're going.
Yes. And keep it simple and clear. Often when I'm working with my clients, my coaching clients, and we're setting up the vision, it will include like 10 different things that they want to work on. And the funny thing is actually when you focus on one, the other 9 will likely get a ripple effect from that one. So that one thing that you choose to focus on. So make sure that your vision is clear and simple. So step 2 is now take that vision like a funnel and drill it down into small action steps. And so like an example of an action step is something that is measurable, that you can do, you can get done, and you know how much time it's going to take you, and you know when you can do it. So a lot of times too, a mistake I see is people just have this like really vague concept of what they're doing, and really big action steps that would take months to get done. And so we need to really get real about what are the small things that I can do daily that are going to start to move me towards that greater, bigger vision.
And the one piece I'd add to that is, for those that are watching right now, what is one thing of all the things that you have to do today? What is that one small action step? Like, how could you break it down and go, what is one step that I could take today to get me closer to my vision?
Exactly. Like even just talking to you live today, there was some steps that had to happen before we could sit down and be live. We had to make our tea. We had to set up our lighting. We had to take notes on what we wanted to talk to you about.
So to get the kids out of the house.
Oh yeah, get the kids out of the house. That was the biggest step, I think.
So you have kids, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So all these little steps led to us being here and able to talk to you. You don't just open up your computer and go to work, right? So we have to think about all those little tiny steps. So step 3.
This one is the one I love, because this is where I'll get stuck if I don't become aware of it. And potentially a lot of you are in the same case, is you have the vision, you know where you're going. And then, sorry, I lost my train of thought. And then you stop midway because potentially you have the vision unclear. Or for me, it's always that there's a shinier object out there. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do this instead. And I stop taking action. So it's almost like I need to remind myself, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, to take that next step instead of the step over that way or the step over this way.
Yes. So that's step 3 is just keep going. Keep going if you feel tired. Keep going if you feel like it's too much work. Keep going if you feel discouraged. So really it's just, telling yourself like, just keep going.
And actually the funny, if you're an entrepreneur and you have an idea a day like myself, the one where this shows up the most is I'll have an idea for a launch, and we both have a launch coming up for courses. And all of a sudden, like a week before the launch, I have an idea to start another business. So I have these beautiful brooms, like a whole nother business that I'm ready to start. And I know myself well enough now to be like, no, you're not starting that business until this one is done. So it's always that one thing that will take you out of the process.
And that's step 5. We're going to come back to that.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that one.
So step 4, so let's recap. So step 1 is mapping out the vision. So where are you going? And keep it simple. Step 2 is make those small actionable steps. So actionable means you know how you're going to get it done, when you're going to get it done, and how it's going to happen. Step 3, keep going, even if it gets hard. When we start to put all those steps, they seem easy, but they're often harder than they seem. So keep going. And step 4, I'd say this is like maybe the most important step, or maybe the second most important, because you do need the vision first, but have the right people in your life also supporting the vision, and also helping you get there. And so I'm so thankful I have you, Lara, and my sister.
Back at you.
My sister's helping me with the launch and all the tech stuff. And I did so much work for this launch already. We were talking about, launching our courses, and it just got to be more work than I had anticipated. And I was tired. And I was
that
like,
seems to always happen. Like I always think, oh, no problem. It's easy. It's so easy. And then you do it. And you're like, maybe there were some things I didn't think of.
Exactly. There's always when you do a house reno, they always say like double the time and double the budget. Well, it's kind of the same with everything, right? There's just like always things you didn't anticipate. So my sister's like calling me at 8 p.m. and she's like, I need you to finish this. And I'm like, no, I'm tired. I'm not doing it. And she's like, if you don't do this tonight, everything else you've done is wasted. So you are doing it. And she pulled me out of this place where I was too tired and not wanting to face it and just being like, forget it, I don't care, to a place of like, okay, I got to get this done. And her encouragement pushed me through to the finish line. So who's in your life that's helping push you to the finish line? Who have you shared your vision with? And who's helping you kind of break down the steps to get there? Yes, you want to speak to that too?
Yeah, I would say hopefully you have a friend or a sister, and this is where, both of you and I coach. Potentially even hiring someone to be this person in your life is essential if you don't have it in your immediate circle. Another way too is having a mastermind. I know a lot of people, like to get together with 8 women, 8 men, or however that needs to look. I love the one-on-one. In my experience building both Y Yoga and Nectar, I always had a coach one-on-one because I know although I can trust the process, I get stuck on these steps. Yeah. So the invitation would be to make sure to look at your team, to look at the people in your life and say, who is supporting me on this big vision that I'm holding? Because I know your vision is very big. And if that gap is there, then really like, this is where you can invest your money, because if you stop, you stop. And that person will be priceless that you've brought in to support you.
Exactly. And we're both coaches who have coaches. So, we live what we teach. So it's really important. Yeah. Okay. Step 5 is, I'll let you take this one away.
So this one we touched on, this goes hand in hand with the keep going. And it speaks to the don't find those shiny objects. There will be things that will distract you. There will be vacations that you want to go on. There will be naps that you want to take. There'll be other things that you just want to do instead of what is on your list, what that one thing you've committed to today is. So just really keep your blinders on and keep going, and don't let the shiny objects interfere with your fierceness to get to where you're going.
I think it's called entrepreneurial ADD.
Yeah. This idea.
There's a name for it, right? It's all these ideas that can really derail you. So actually we've been following James Wedmore, and he says, if you're here and your desire island is over here and you're building just half bridges, you're not going to get there. So build one bridge all the way through to completion, which is where you may need some support. Like I told you about my sister, like I got the bridge like right there and I'm like, no, I can't do it. And then, she got me all the way to complete that bridge. So say no to shiny objects. And the last and final step is what we started our talk with, is trust the process. So, we've mapped out these steps. We believe that these are the steps that will get you to your vision. So keep that vision clear. Sometimes you might have to revise the vision with some different things that have stopped, but make sure you're not just derailing it, that you're actually just revising it to what you truly want. And that's where you could speak to even the alignment piece, right? Of making sure that vision's in alignment, and then trust the process.
Yeah. And, we're curious from you, like, what is that one thing that you're aligned with most, that is feeding your deepest why of like why you're here to do the work in the world you are? And then what is your vision? What are you creating that you're going to learn to trust the process just a little bit more today?
I love that. So on that note, let's give you a challenge. Go into whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on Instagram, and type out what's your vision. Share it with us. We want to know. And we'll see you next week for tea time. Bye.
Take care. Bye for now.